If you've taken a look at your retirement account over the past few months, you probably feel a little like Chicken Little. Oh, the sky is falling, you know? But if you ask me when will the bleeding stop, I would be lying if I told you when the tides could turn. However, what I do know is there is a lot to be confident in. In this week's episode, I want to walk you through a few steps that can make you confident in your retirement account and know that everything is going to be all right. No matter where you are in saving for retirement, from not having started retirement or whether you're about to retire, you will walk away from this episode with pure confidence in your retirement. Let's go.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror. Where future success is reflected in our knowledge of fixing the one thing we can control, ourselves.
Hey, how's it going? Hopefully everyone is having a great weekend. I know that it is a long weekend for some, and you know, we got the holiday coming up tomorrow, and I think that this is a long weekend, but it's more importantly a memorable weekend for this holiday. So thank you for joining me today on the Financial Mirror as we continue to work on improving the one thing that we can control ourselves. If this is your first time joining, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube to be notified of all the new releases as they come out. This is a weekly stream that is done on Sunday with the podcast getting released on Tuesday. So if you do miss the episode, you can always catch it on the go on your podcast platform of choice. Now, if you are listening on a podcast platform, such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever podcast platform you listen to, don't forget to hit the 5-star review, the 5-star rating and the written review, as those both go truly a long ways in getting this information out to more and more people, especially in a time like now when retirement accounts are a hot topic for many people. And this is going to be information that so many people need to hear at this very, very moment. So I've listened to the rumbles over the past few weeks, and I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be a interesting few weeks to come. Like I said in the intro, I don't know when the tides will turn. I don't know when the markets will just recover and your retirement account will make up for the 18-20% loss, you know, following, you know, the S&P. We looked at it last week. It was like 18% down. I haven't looked at exactly how much it's down year to date as of this stream, but it was down 18. So, I mean, I'm still guessing 18-20% is probably a good estimate. But I've heard the rumbling, and is probably creating in your life a little bit of uncertainty as you're looking at those current account values. But, you know, it's probably even making you have to rethink, when are you going to retire? You may have thought about retiring in the next year or two. Is that still a possibility? And you're probably rethinking that. Well, what I want to do is create a little confidence. I want to put a little confidence back into your life. And that's what this episode is. This is a confidence building episode. I want you to walk away from this episode with that much more confidence, knowing that you do have the ability to retire. And when you meet these criteria and you go through these steps and you look at it from this method, you will have the confidence to retire. And I want you to be certain of that. So this is a episode, and that is going to no matter if you're going to retire in 5 years or in 50 years, this episode is going to provide some value to you to ensure that you're on the right track to hit that goal whenever that retirement timeline looks like for you. Now, if you are, I wanted to hit this up front, if you are working a job that pays a pension, this does provide value. And I say that because most people that retire with a pension, they realize it after the fact that pension doesn't pay as much to cover everything that they need in retirement. And I want you to know that that this does still apply to you. There's still stuff to come away from if you do receive a pension, or if you're going to receive a pension. This is some stuff that is applicable to you. And I think that this retirement plan will only help with that pension as you go into your retirement years. So the most important part that I stress when discussing retirement is this: retirement is just a number. It's literally just a number. And in this episode, we are going to close with that information, that this is just a number. So I want you to be confident in that number. I want you to be confident in what that number is. But this is all retirement is. It's just a number. So next week, I am going to do a follow-up episode to this. And it's going to be about how to live on your retirement nest egg. I think that a lot of times we go through, oh, build your retirement. Oh, get to this. Oh, get to that retirement number, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden people retire and they're like, okay, I've got this nest egg, but how do I live on it? Like, how do I know how much to take out? How do I do this? Well, we're going to walk through that next week. That's going to be next week's episode. So today I want to get you confident in that account that you've built up or that you are building up. And next week, I want to really dive into how to live on that retirement nest egg and a couple of steps that you can take to do that. So before we understand how to build confidence in retirement, let's first discuss a couple of common myths that are out there about retirement. So first myth that's out there is, well, I'm just going to live off Social Security. Well, as of this recording, the average annual income for Social Security is $19,900. So if your plan is to live on $19,900 a year, maybe, but that's not a very good plan. That's definitely below poverty level, and it's not a very valid strategy if you do plan on having a very prosperous retirement. So the other thing about Social Security is we've all heard it's going to run out. Well, regardless if that's true or not, I don't really care. I don't really want to get into that debate of how or when or if or whatever this runs out. Living on $19,900 a year is not something that you can foundationally rely on. So that's a myth. Don't think you're going to just retire and live on Social Security. That's not something that's going to be applicable. Well, the other myth is, well, I'm just going to work through retirement. 72% of workers say they're going to work through retirement. So you would fall into 72% if that's what you said. And only 30% are actually able to do so. So that's not a very good strategy. So, because think about it, there's things that could come up that prevent you from working through retirement. This could be a health-related issue, or let's be honest, maybe some young, spunky go-getter comes out of college and the company looks and says, well, I'm going to pay this guy to come and I'm just going to replace you because I have to pay you a lot of money for all your experience and all your knowledge and all of your time with the company. I'm just going to replace you with this guy that I can get cheaper and I'm just going to train him up. It doesn't have to be health-related, but your ability to be applicable to the market could change and you may not have the ability to work through retirement. Not a good plan. The other, and this is the one that I'm going to address a little bit in this episode when we start looking at building confidence, but is, well, it's too late for me to start saving. I don't have anything saved for retirement. So it's too late for me to start doing that. Well, this is false. Capital F-A-L-S-E. This is false and you shouldn't believe it. Don't believe that if you're telling yourself that. It's not true and it doesn't have to be true because no matter how old you are, doing nothing leads to nothing. So if you do nothing right now, you will end up retired with nothing. Like, I mean, that's the facts. I mean, that's just a factual statement. So if you are 50 and contribute 25% of your income to retirement, that could be about $500,000 by the time you're 67, right? That's easily possible. So if any of these myths are things that you've told yourself, let's move away from those because those are definitely holding you back from feeling confident in your retirement account. So let's move away from those myths and let's start to focus on the things that are controllable and that we can understand. And that is retirement is something that you can be confident in. So we demolished all the myths. So I'm going to walk you through how you can build confidence in your retirement. So first up, you've got to envision your lifestyle. That's right. You've got to understand what your retirement life looks like. I put it on the screen. Maybe you want to live this life in a mansion with the sitting back, cooling in the sun on the beach, traveling, golf, like whatever your retirement looks like. You've got to know what that is. So this is an important aspect, and it's important for you to understand that this is something you're in control of. This is you gotta understand what this is so that you can go out and attack it. So ultimately, you need to know what your life retired looks like. But before we can ever truly build confidence, that is something that we really have to understand. So when we envision this lifestyle, keep in mind that retiring in debt is not your best friend. So if you're planning to retire right now and you still have debt, I mean no debt. Like if you're planning to retire and you have debt, I would strongly consider possibly relooking that situation. Because people all the time, well, I want to retire, but I still have my house payment, but I'll pay it off with my retirement. Well, you could probably just bust, if you're planning on retiring, you could probably bust through that house payment, get rid of the house payment and pay the house off and then retire. That's a better strategy for that piece. So be honest with yourself. Is it time to retire? But the ultimate part right here is not to say when you should retire or how you should retire, but ultimately just making sure that your envisioned lifestyle involves no house payment. You shouldn't have any debt. You shouldn't have any debt, and that should be a part of your envisioned life. And that's important because 30% of people's budget goes towards housing. So 30% of your budget you get back the second the house is paid off. And with that, that's more money for you have to dip into your nest egg and whatnot to try to live through retirement. And that's what's important. Most people forego this step and then they retire and then they eat through that retirement nest egg. And then they're like, man, I'm out of money. I've got to go back to work or whatever the case is. Normally because lifestyle creep kicks in, they're retired. They don't have all those responsibilities that they had before. They start picking up new hobbies, like whatever the case is, you need to be honest with yourself when you're envisioning your retired life. Like when you start to think about how do I want to live retired? What does my housing situation look like? What do my hobbies look like? How am I going to spend my time? Like all of these things are things you have to consider because this is ultimately this is the life you're trying to fund. This is what retirement looks like and what you have to afford. So when you're thinking about all these things, it's important to keep that vision in mind because that's what you're working for. If at any time you change your vision of retirement, well, guess what? You're going to have to change that whole entire retirement plan and strategy that you've put together. You might need more money. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So first thing, step one to get confident is you've got to understand what retired life looks like. Not this fairy tale imagination of what retirement, but what does your retirement look like? How does your everyday life look like? How's your time spent? How's your money spent? All of these things. Where do you live? How do you your transportation means, like all of those things, you've got to think about it. You've got to think about it up front because that does ultimately drive what that retirement number is. So next up, take advantage of time. I cannot speak on this enough. Take advantage of time. You cannot buy back time when you're looking at the growth of a retirement account. You can't buy it back. So to be confident in your retirement, this is a strategy for more or less people that are just now building their retirement or people that are maybe a couple years out from retirement. But you could, if you're just at a retirement age or about at a retirement age, you could easily find some value in this because it just means don't stop investing. Keep investing. I did an episode last week and some of this is going to tie into that episode when I was talking about keep investing simple. This part is driven by the fact that you've got to keep investing. You've got to keep putting money into retirement. You cannot get back time. And that's the part right here that I want us to focus on. Take advantage of the time you have. So For an example, if you know, when you're a child, so many people tell you to start investing in retirement. They tell you early on. And then if you're like me and so many others, you were like, oh no, I got time for that. I'll do my retirement funding later. You didn't listen, right? You don't listen because you knew what was best at 8 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old. You knew what was best. So you didn't. And then you got older. And then maybe you were like, okay, maybe I should do some retirement investing. And then you start, but then you stop because you're like, man, I could really use this money to go travel to Europe or whatever. And then you get to a certain age and then you're like, okay, I really should have started investing. And for some, they right now realize it's time to play catch up, and that may have a little stress set in. So we don't want that to happen. So if you are young, if you are at an earlier age in your retirement years, take advantage of the time. Start investing now. And if you haven't been investing, get started on that. If you're currently investing or you have stopped, get back investing. That's how you get confident. You're confident when money is constantly flowing in and you're giving that money a chance to grow. That's how you build confidence. Confident is not just stopping investing because the markets are down. Confident is not, looking at that account saying, man, I should really move these funds around, or I should really change my allocations to a lower amount because the market's so terrible. Like, no, like that doesn't build confidence. I heard on a podcast episode the other day that this lady, she took her money out in the 2008 market time frame, and ended up, by the time she got back investing, she had lost out on about $1.5 million, right? Like, I mean, it's a big thing to just stop investing. You can't get back all that time. You can't do it. So don't stop investing. Keep investing. It'll keep that confidence going. Now, what I want to look at here is something I talked about last week, and I want to bring it up because it's very important right here at this part of the episode. What I'm trying to portray here is that you can't buy back time. That's all I'm trying to show you, is that you can't buy back time with your retirement investments. So I talked about this last week. It takes 7 years on average for your investment to double, right? I said that last week, and I'm going to say it again. But in simplest terms, this means that your money goes from 1,000 to 2,000 as fast as it goes from 500,000 to 1 million, right? And I know that's so hard to hear, but it's true. It's very true. It takes just as long for that to happen. So knowing that, my question to you is, how many times are you going to give your money a chance to double? Because that ultimately is directly related to how long you have to let this money grow to retirement. But so I put this into a chart, and this is how many times it would take your money to double. And this is based on the rule of 72 that we discussed last week, where your money doubles, at the bottom, it says every 10 years. That's a mistake. It should be every 7 years. But times your money will double. So pretty much, for anyone that listens on the podcast, I want to read through this. So if from birth to 70 years old, you'd give your money 10 times to double. From 21, if you started investing at 21 till the time you were 70, your money would double 7 times. If you started investing at 35 to 70, your money would double 5 times. And if you invested from 56 to 70, your money would double 2 times. So if you think about that, and you think about the numbers I gave you earlier, where it takes just as long to double from 1 to 2,000 as it does from 500,000 to 1 million, my question to you is, how many times are you going to let your money double, right? Because if I let 25 double to 50, and 50 doubles to 100, and 100 doubles to 200, and 2 doubles to 4, and 4 doubles to 8, I might need that. That was a lot of doubling. I might need some time for that to happen, right? So the earlier I start this, the better my retirement nest egg is, right? That's the whole point in this. That's the whole point in this. You can't buy back time. You only have so many times for that money to double in a lifetime. How many times? The only way to still get those big numbers is to have to change and negotiate how your life is established financially so that you can put more savings into retirement. That's the only other way to catch up. And that's what you're constantly doing. You're catching up. But let's not play catch up. Let's go straight in and let's get the money that we need. So what should you do, right? What should you do if right here, if you're like, man, okay, I want to get in, I want to invest, I need my entire, I'm 21 and I want the 7 times to double. What do? Well, pretty easy. Make sure that you invest 15% of your income toward retirement. 15%. If you are later in life, you may need to up this to 25 to 30% of your income just so you can play catch up. Okay. But that's what you should do. That's very simplistic. That's what you should do. So 15% of your money toward retirement, 25 to 30 if you are later in life. Later in life, I'm looking at, 40, 50. You might be on the 20, 25 side. If you're 45, 50, 55, yeah, we need to be up there 25, 30%, so we can play catch up on that. So like I mentioned, you can't buy back time. You've got to keep that vision of your lifestyle right there on the forefront of your brain when you're thinking about retirement, and you will be on your way to a confident retirement. So when you know you're hitting the milestone with the 15%, confidence will come with that. Confidence will come. So you'll know that you're currently on track for success, and that's all you need at that very moment. So remember that, and remember that you are in control of your retirement ultimately. But if you have a good vision of what retirement looks like, if you're putting away the money that is needed to let that money double, let that money grow, that 15% of your income toward retirement, I'm telling you, that is in and of itself confident building, right? You're building confidence with that. Now, the part that I really, really, really want to hammer home, this last thing, know your retirement number. You've got to know your retirement number. So retirement number for many people is an age, right? It's an age. For so many people, it's simply an age that people want to get to so they can retire. But I want to tell you right here today, if you're listening to this, watching this, whatever, retirement is not an age. That's such a lie. It is such a lie. And it's not true. And I'm going to say that because I think if I asked anybody, almost anybody, when do you want to retire? I think most people would answer with an age. They'd say, oh, I want to retire by this age. Oh, I want to retire at, by the time I'm 59 and a half, right? Because that's when you can draw out of your retirement accounts, 59 and a half. So if you're listening to this, how would you answer that? If I was just like, when are you going to retire? And if all you can think about is an age, I want to help you on that. I want to help you realize that retirement is not an age. It's simply not an age. But this is a shift that we have to have. This is a shift in your mindset to know that it's not anything. It's not a certain age you have to reach so you can retire. It's simply a number that you have to reach, but it's not an age that we're focusing on. So what is it, right? Because ultimately, if I had to tell you one thing that builds true confidence in retirement, is this right here, is knowing your retirement number. Well, a retirement number, if it's not an age, what is it? Well, it's a financial number. It's a dollar sign. How much money do you have for retirement? That's your retirement number. If you're putting 15% toward retirement, or 25 to 30% towards retirement for a catch-up, the whole goal for that is that on average, that gives people enough to reach this arbitrary number out there for them to retire. What I challenge you is that when you've done step 1 and 2, you've envisioned your lifestyle, you are not worried about trying to buy back time. Like you're investing early, you're investing often. What I'm telling you is that you have the ability to figure out what that retirement number is for you and go and attack it. Make sure that you have enough for that, because that's where true confidence comes from. When you have deep down, that I have enough to retire. I need $1.3 million to retire. Well, guess what? When that account says 1.3 million, wholeheartedly you can retire right now and you will be A-okay. And that's where true confidence comes from, is knowing your retirement number. And it so many people think it's an age. So many people think it's an age, and it's not. It is simply a financial digit, a numerical value with a dollar sign in front of it that says this is how much you need to retire. And everybody's is different. How much you need and the lifestyle you want is different from the lifestyle I want and how much I need. So you've got a whole bunch of options out there to figure out what this number is. I mean, in simplistic forms, you could figure out, well, if I want my expenses are going to be roughly this much a month. I want to spend this much in hobbies a year. Like, I mean, you could add it up yourself. But the best way to do it is that's a very detailed version. You say, well, I want to live on a $50,000 income, and I think I want to retire at this age, and then I want to. I think I'll live for this long. You can do that math and you can figure it out. Or you can simply just go use a retirement calculator. There's tons of them out there. I linked down in the description below. I linked 2 retirement calculators that you can go and utilize to try to figure out what your retirement number is. Those can definitely help you in deciding that value. But ultimately, that's all you're trying to figure out. When you hit that number, retirement is easy. Retirement's just the next step. Do you have to retire? Absolutely not. You don't have to retire, but it's the next step for your retirement. So that's the part that I want to make sure that I hit home. That when you're thinking about retirement, you need to know what dollar amount it takes for you to retire. That's what I challenge you with today. I challenge you to go out and figure out what that retirement value is, and start working to achieve that, because ultimately that's what your end goal is. So this mindset shift is what is truly necessary for you to be totally confident in your retirement account. Like I've said in this week's episode and last week's episode, I don't know when the markets turn around. I have no idea when that is. What I can tell you is that on average, markets return 10%. That's what I can tell you. On average. Will this year return 10%? Possibly not. Maybe it returns negative 10%. But that just means that the next year we could have a very booming market. Or we look at last year and we had a very booming market. So on average, you had a lot of wins last year in terms of the market. And this year, it may not be a fun year. It may not have all the enjoyment. But ultimately speaking, the market returns 10% annually on average. So it doesn't mean it's going to do it every year, but on average, it's going to give you a 10% return. So just know that, keep that in mind, and know that everything is on sale right now, and keep investing, keep putting your money to retirement. It's only going to make you more confident as you quickly see that account grow through the next coming years. So hopefully you realize this. Hopefully this all made sense. Comment below if you have any questions about the information. If you've heard of the FIRE movement, this is sort of where this mindset shift comes from. FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. If you're not familiar with it, you can always look that up. But people that are living and breathing FIRE, they've bought into this mindset shift where retirement is a number. Retirement's not an age, retirement's a number. And they start to live, way less than they make. And then they start to invest 40, 50, 60% of their income. And they build this bridge account so that they can retire as soon as they get to that number, right? And then they just stop when they working, whenever they hit that number, right? And honestly, I might just do an episode on that. I might do an episode on about FIRE, what it is, because I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing for people to strive for. But maybe do an episode on that where I can talk about how to structure that bridge account out, so that you can retire early if you don't want to. And I say retire early, and pretty much retire early is before 59 and a half, because 59 and a half is where you can start to draw into those retirement accounts. So if you do want to retire earlier than 59 and a half, there are things you have to do, and account structures you have to go through and look at. So maybe I'll do an episode on that. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to do an episode on that. Be on the lookout for it. But nonetheless, what I want you to know is all of this is possible. Everything is possible with this. You will retire confidently. You will retire with the money that you need to get to where you want to be. So I'm telling you that. Go use one of the calculators below. Like I said, I'll link 2 of them down there. Go pick one out and do both. See how far off they are. But go knock out the calculator, figure out what that number is for you, and start working and knowing that you're going to be confident when that retirement age comes. If you are getting closer to retirement, there's and you planned on retirement this year, it's like you should go look at what your retirement is, what that number should be for you, and see if that's feasible. And that's ultimately what we'll be looking at. Otherwise, if you're not at that retirement age currently, take this as a motivation to look at the calculator, see what you got to get to, and start working to get there. Now, if you are ready to take control of your finances and ensure you are on the right path to financial success, a financial coach may be exactly what you need. Head on over to the Financial Mirror, and right in the top, right in the middle of the screen, you'll see a book now. Just hit that book now and head over to the calendar. Put it on my calendar, and we'll get you started with a free consultation to just see if a financial coach is right for you. In addition, if you do want to give an extra dose of support to the Financial Mirror, head over to thefinancialmirror.org/shop and pick you up some Financial Mirror gear. This is all pretty much sold at cost, so if biggest thing is just to give you a chance to show some extra support, and obviously it does bring great value to be able to support the stream and help get the information out there. I do truly appreciate everyone tuning in, and so glad that we were able to do this episode. I think this episode comes at a very good time, as a lot of people are beginning to panic about retirement, and I kind of want to make sure that people are staying confident in the retirement account that they have. So I truly appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. If you are listening on the podcast, thank you. And don't forget to leave that 5-star review and the written comment, as those do go a long ways in helping get this information out. Till next week, continue improving the one thing you can control, yourself. Peace.
Well, that wraps up today's Financial Mirror. Join us next week as we continue to work on ourselves, change our mentality, and to commit to achieving the success we always envisioned. Regardless of your platform, help us grow as a community. Please like, subscribe, and share with the people in your lives.